In the story of Africa's fight for independence, there are names carved into stone: Mandela, Nkrumah, Lumumba. But there is another name, less known, yet just as powerful: Amílcar Cabral. He didn't come from a palace. He didn't march with huge armies or sit on global stages. He was a quiet man, a scientist. But what he planted grew into one of the most effective anti-colonial movements in the world. He led two nations to freedom, without ever ruling either. This is the story of how a man of soil and soul challenged an empire and paid the ultimate price. Amílcar Cabral was born in 1924 in Bafata, a small town in Portuguese Guinea, today Guinea-Bissau. His father was a teacher. His mother sold vegetables. They were poor, but proud. Cabral showed brilliance early on. Books were his escape, but also his weapon. He earned a scholarship and traveled all the way to Lisbon, the heart of the colonial empire that ruled his people. There he studied agronomy, the science of soil and crops. But he also studied colonialism. In Portugal, he met other African students, men who would later become revolutionaries in Angola, Mozambique, Cape Verde. They formed secret circles, debated Pan-Africanism, and dreamed of home, free and sovereign. Cabral returned to West Africa in the 1950s, not just as a scientist, but as a seer, determined to transform the land and the minds of his people. Unlike many who rushed to arms, Cabral began his revolution with education. He traveled deep into rural villages, talking to farmers and fishermen, listening to elders. He didn't begin by telling people what to do. He asked them, "Who are you? What do you want? Why do you suffer?" Then he told them, "The colonizer is not invincible. Their power is not divine. If we organize, we can break it." He taught that identity was the first step toward liberation. He said, "A people without culture is a people without resistance." To him, culture was not tradition. It was a form of warfare. The colonizer had not only stolen land, they had tried to erase memory, pride, and unity. And so culture became his first battleground. In 1956, Cabral founded the PAIGC, the African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde. But this was no ordinary political party. It was a movement of teachers, nurses, farmers, and yes, soldiers. When peaceful protest failed, the PAIGC took up arms. But even their guerrilla warfare had a different rhythm. Cabral trained fighters to also be healers, educators, and builders. In the forests of Guinea, they didn't just fight the Portuguese army. They built clinics, opened schools, and taught people to govern themselves. He called it liberated territory, villages run by the people long before independence. But Cabral's brilliance lay in strategy and belief. He avoided direct battles. He used the land. He used the people's knowledge. And most of all, he used hope as his fuel. By the late 1960s, the PAIGC controlled over 2/3 of Guinea-Bissau. Cabral's fighters had become a symbol across Africa. Even Che Guevara praised his discipline and clarity. Fidel Castro welcomed him in Havana, and Kwame Nkrumah called him Africa's most intelligent revolutionary. But power always attracts enemies, and not just foreign ones. On January 20th, 1973, just months before Guinea-Bissau was to officially gain independence, Amílcar Cabral was assassinated. He wasn't killed by the Portuguese. He was shot by his own men, infiltrated, bribed, and turned by foreign intelligence. The man who gave everything, who led without ego, who had no palace, no fortune, lay dead in the cold, just steps from the headquarters he had built. Africa mourned. His body was flown to Conakry, Guinea, where tens of thousands came to honor the man who had become more than a leader. He was a vision. Cabral never ruled a nation, but he shaped two, Guinea-Bissau and Cape Verde, both of which gained independence in 1974, a year after his death. To this day, his words echo in classrooms, in liberation movements, in books and songs. He taught that a true revolution is not about guns, but about dignity. That freedom must be planted in the mind before it can grow in the world. Hide nothing from the masses, tell no lies, expose lies wherever they are found. He died before seeing the flag of Guinea-Bissau rise, but his fingerprints are on its fabric. And across Africa, in every child learning their true history, in every voice refusing to be silenced, Amílcar Cabral still speaks, not with a gun, but with the timeless power of truth.